All right. Hey, everyone. For those of you who don't know, I'm Tim Condon, the Chief Revenue Officer here at Clutch, the largest online B2B services marketplace. And if you're a growing marketing or tech services agency, then this video series is for you. Each episode, we bring on a guest to talk about various aspects of scaling your business. And I'm really excited today to talk to a good old friend of mine named Peter Corbett. And for those of you guys who don't know Peter, I'll let him sort of have his own thunder, but his marketing agency back a number of years ago, iStrategy Lab. I don't know if I'm being hyperbolic by saying you maybe invented viral marketing as a sustainable business, but so I won't say exactly that, but maybe you will. So without further ado, let's hear from you, Peter, and tell us a little about your background.
Wow, Tim, so good to see you. And I'll take all the hyperbole I can get in my advanced old age. You said your old friend. So yeah, I'm now the old man. I don't know that we invented a sustainable method for viral marketing. There were other people able to figure out what we figured out, but I feel like perfected it. And so I'll just give a quick elevator. So I had founded iStrategy Labs solo, built it out of my apartment, scaled it to 100 full-time employees with another 150 contractors. So 250 person shop, sold it to a public company. And along the way, worked with 35 of the Fortune 500. And we were really known for creating campaigns, specifically content or physical marketing. We'll talk about experiential if you like, that just got, tens of millions of people talking. And so we kind of figured out a formula. We can talk a little bit about what that formula was. And it was super exciting. I retired from that world 6 years ago, sold the business, stayed on for a little while, and retired from that. And now I do executive coaching. I came out of retirement. Friends were saying, can you please help me? These are, big billionaire, multi-billion dollar companies and also smaller companies and some agencies. So I'm happy to share what I know with the crowd today.
Awesome. All right. Well, when you and I met back in the day, you guys were doing some really cool stuff. And so I want to hear your opinion. What was the coolest viral promotion you guys did? And then maybe sort of pivot that into how did you figure out what the formula was?
Yeah, I'll share. I do have a favorite. I grew up watching Nickelodeon. I don't know if the audience did. And so the chief marketing officer of Nickelodeon reached out and said, hey, I heard about you guys. We have this character, SpongeBob. You might know it. I was like, yeah, I know who SpongeBob is. They said, we've got this big anniversary. We really want to promote it globally. We need a really, really good idea to get a lot of people excited. And the agency owners who are watching this will appreciate this. So I get on the call and the team is all there and they're like, so Peter, what's the idea? And I was like, I don't know. And they're like, what? You don't know? I'm like, no, I don't know. And then I go, wait. All right. So there's like some theater there. I'm like, no, wait, I got it. In episode 23, there's this like skill crane game. We can grab a prize. It's like Mr. Crab has got this like, coin slot operated skill crane. I said, so let's build one, physical one, and we'll let the internet control it. We'll do a live stream. You'll be able to grab control of the claw, and then we'll ship golden SpongeBobs to people's houses.
Oh, wow.
Hundreds of thousands of people started hammering the website to grab control of this. There's SpongeBobs getting like shipped all over the world. Totally insane. So I love that because I love the theater origin of it. Biz dev is such a thing. I know you guys are very well involved in that. And the idea of like not having the idea and then letting it be a lightning bolt in the moment with the team, it's so special to me. And the fact that it succeeded so wildly. So you asked, what's the formula? Yeah. And in this instance, we always just thought of what does the internet want?
Yeah.
And let's give it to them.
Yeah.
So in this case, the internet wanted golden SpongeBobs. I'm going to give them to you. Like literally tens of thousands of them getting shipped out the door by Nickelodeon. But I need to do it in a way that's going to be viral. And how does that work? And so when you credential, you share, all that is baked into the technology. So the campaign is just spreading naturally. I think there was very little paid promotion behind that, like maybe $50,000 of paid media behind it, which is insane for the amount of reach that we got. So yeah, I just always think about what does the internet want and let me give it to them.
Yeah. So viral marketing has come a long way since you and I were last talking. I mean, really, like you were pioneering it 10 years ago, longer.
Yeah, it's 2024 now. So our earliest splashes campaigns were probably like 2009. Yeah, 15.
So I got to ask, do you think those principles like still apply?
100%. Yeah, 100%. I do. I think what would be different today is that there would naturally be an influencer integrated into the campaign, that it would, it's Mr. Beast who's the one with the dynamite for Twitter. Like that's the way it is, because influencers are the media now.
Yeah.
And we had a little bit of that going on back then, but really not at the scale that we have today.
Yeah. All right. So you didn't talk about this, but, and maybe you'll tell me I'm wrong about this, but, it seems like, the whole Mr. Beast thing, like there's a certain element of authenticity, right? Like Mr. Beast, I mean, he's a brand now, but originally he was just a dude, right? Like doing cool stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think authenticity is necessary, and does that impact how much brands can sort of play here, or do they have to play sort of differently now?
Yeah, that never came up. Like it literally, it didn't come up that this campaign must be authentic.
Yeah.
What came up was that this campaign must be absolutely ridiculous. And when someone sees it, they laugh, or they're like an emotional response. So laugh or cry or scream or whatever that is. And so I never really worried about that. I think that I think brands get in trouble with when they try to be authentic and it's clear that they're just selling you jeans.
Yeah.
So why are you trying to do that? I'd rather you just make me laugh, or literally send me free jeans because I had a skill crane win or something.
Do you just continue to have random ideas and say, oh, these companies should do that? And what do you do?
Yeah. And I'm never going to start an agency again. All of you agency owners, I feel for you. I've been there, I've done that. I feel we'll talk a little bit about that journey. But yeah, I wish I had an agency so that I could make all of these crazy ideas that I always come up with. So I usually just give them away. I have a friend who owns one of the largest sporting goods stores in the New York metropolitan region. And he's like, yeah, we're trying to figure out how to drive sales and this and that. And I look at him like, sponsor every single intramural team in the entire metro region. He's like, what? What do you mean? I'm like, just tell everybody. They'll come in. And what does it mean? I don't know. You give them like a sweatband. But you're going to have like 100,000 extra people coming in the store like tomorrow. He's like, oh my God, we've been trying to figure this out. So yeah, I just give them away. The ideas are there.
All right, let's switch gears a little. You now work as an executive coach to CEO. So like, why'd you make the shift? You obviously had said you retired and then you came out.
I tried not to. I really tried not to. And for 3 years, I sold the company. I made enough money never to work again. And I was like, I'm done. I'm retired. But I was 36.
Yeah.
And I guess you're kind of still dumb at 36. Sorry for all of you out there that are still in that age bracket. I have so much energy. A friend of mine had a $4 billion company, and he was like, I need you to be my coach. I want to sell this to a public company. I was like, no, I have no interest in doing that. I'm not going to be a coach. I thought that a coach was less than, like lesser than a CEO, lesser than an entrepreneur. And that was just a stupid limiting belief of my own. And so he really twisted my arm, and he was a good enough friend that I didn't want to let him down. So I said, all right, I'll do this. And I loved it immediately. It was so wonderful. So now I have like 5 or 6 coaching clients at a time, not trying to build a coaching company and some empire. But I have agency CEO and co-founder clients who really get to take the operating experience that I have had and couple it with like the interpersonal sort of personal development stuff that I've cultivated and accelerate their business. So I don't take on many clients. If someone wants to reach out, I'm happy to chat with them. I do a free intake, but it's been wonderful to kind of give back in that way.
Yeah, that's great. I got to imagine, well, you tell me, I got to imagine one of the issues with your clients is the stress of growing quickly. Like it's sort of like, it's easy to look on the outside and be like, oh, they're doing awesome. It must be all great. And my guess is a lot of your clients are like, wow, this is scary. Or you tell me, what are the
For sure. I'll give you one example. I've been working with her for 3 years, probably one of my longest running clients. I didn't really start doing this until a few years back. When she hired me, probably doing 3 million in revenue, is going to do 20 million this year. That's not normal. right? Like totally crazy. And I'm not attributing that to me. I tell her, you're doing 99.99% of it. It's just 0.01% for me.
Yeah.
And, she's starting to really scale, and she's like, yeah, I'm really stressed. There's this, and this. Okay, well, hold on. Yeah, I just heard like 9 things. This one, are you stressed about it? She's like, no, yeah, we'll get more office space. I've already got a broker on it. That's no big deal. As I went through each individual item, she was not actually stressed about them at all. But when you put them in a big basket of like, this is all the stuff that's going on with scaling, it becomes like, I'm overwhelmed. And so like unbraiding or untangling that feeling of overwhelm is invariably, I think, the most important practice that a leader should do when they're scaling. So for anyone listening to this, if you feel that, I would just like sit and take a breath or two and then see each individual thing. Now, these things might be breaking. I get that. I went from 0 to 250 people, including the contractors, and things broke along the way. I had very little stress. I know that sounds strange. You can ask any of my prior team members, they'll be like, no, he was just executing. Yeah. So I tried to like untangle things for myself. And then if I felt like I was getting stuck, I would just execute. And I wouldn't sit in the like stressed part. Yeah. Maybe some people might call that bypassing. I call that being an effective leader, but
yeah. What about anything specific to agency owners? Like if, anything that if we had an audience here sitting here, right, that you'd say, hey, I know you're probably feeling this. Here's how to deal with it.
Yeah. I know. So if there's an audience of agency owners running me and say, I know you're feeling this. You're worried about losing your biggest client. You're worried about losing your best talent, right?
Yeah.
And this is going to sound a little counterintuitive. And it comes from the Stoic tradition of negative visualization. I would say, lose them. Like in your mind, just lose them for a second. Like executive creative director walked out the door. What do? Biggest client. Wow. Fired us. No warning. I have to lay off how many people? And what do I do after that? And so if you do a negative visualization exercise, I know it sounds odd, but it in fact will prepare you. And ideally, your nervous system is in such a state that it doesn't spiral you. If it does, I would encourage you to like maybe let me take you through something like that. And if you feel you go, we lose our biggest client, I lay off 10 people. So what?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll keep going.
Yeah.
Or the so what is like, and then I shut down the company because I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
Which happens. That happened with my wife. She had a 15-person creative agency, lost her biggest client, fired half the people, and wound the company down because she didn't want to build back. And that's okay too. Yeah. And this is going to sound maybe like a coaching platitude, but it's really not. So again, if it's a room full of agency owners, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Like more than fine. This whole thing could go away. You're so talented.
Yeah.
You have an agency that's either growing or has grown of a certain size because you're so talented. That doesn't go away.
Yeah. That's really cool. I think, that negative visualization, that's funny. I'd never really heard of somebody speak about it that way, but it's one of those things that you just sort of sometimes just do. You're like, okay, there is something to be said for like, knowing what you would do if it happens, right? Because then if it happens, you've got to start a plan, right?
Yeah. My biggest one was when I sold the company and I had made all this money and I didn't grow up wealthy. I was like, what if I lose it all?
Yeah.
And I really took myself through. I was like, well, I'm like back at square one. Oh, no, I'm not back at square one.
Yeah.
I have decades of experience and a massive network, and I could start something for nothing tomorrow and it would be incredible. And what am I worried about?
Yeah.
Am I worried about the money? Really?
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm worried about like incapability. Oh, that's a different thing to work on.
Yeah.
And so then you make yourself more capable in the areas that you're concerned about, which I've done a lot of myself working that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Because you know this audience better than I do, frankly. Anything else you want to? There's
so much. So I'll just give a little. I did a 5-hour class for agency owners.
That's awesome.
Only 1,000 people took the class. So I've had a lot to say to agency owners over time. Um, I'm not going to go into the whole backstory of ultimately why I decided to sell the company. It's a little bit of a longer story. Part of me wanted to do something different. I felt I had sort of won the game. Like I had won all the awards. I had won 19 Con Lions for the work that we had done. So I want the people watching this, if you're running an agency, however it's going great or otherwise, before you consider selling it or moving on, just consider the fact that this is a capability. Like we think of them as companies, and they are. It's a company, and I sell services, and I make money. But this is a whole capability. The ability to bring new ideas to life in the digital and physical world it's invaluable. Now, it's valued on a month and a quarterly basis according to the revenue that you get, but it's also invaluable from the point of view of potential. So I would just sit with like, what do I want to make in the world moving forward? And you might go, yeah, I'll keep selling the services, but I want to make the world's greatest, it's wintertime, bobsled. Bobsleds 2.0, a DTC company for all the kids to enjoy. Make them.
Yeah.
You have a blank canvas when you have an agency, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So I missed that. We kind of touched on it at the beginning of the call. That would be one of the biggest things. And the reason I bring that one up is agency owners often just suffer from losing energy in this work. They're just like, man, I've been hustling for years and years, and this, this proposal and that scope, and this client is doing this, and this employee left, and like that can be draining. And usually people who work in the creative agency world are creative in some way. I don't mean, an actual designer. And creative people need to maintain their energy. And so this is one of the ways I'd encourage you to do that, which is like, okay, what do I actually want to create? And then literally make it. If that's too much, to build a bobsled 2.0 company, think of something smaller and make it. Like I almost made a whiskey brand while I was running ISL. I should have. I really wish I had.
Yeah. It feels like there's still time, Peter. I'm not gonna lie.
It's still time.
I would love a Peter Corbett whiskey. All right, let's do some rapid fire. So go to podcast.
Wow, right now probably the Huberman Lab. I've gotten really into biohacking and all things health. I've lost 14 pounds in the past 2 months just by working out and changing my diet. So I'm a total nerd for all that right now.
Awesome. Okay. One thing that people who don't know you well, or even who know you reasonably well, would be surprised to learn about you.
Well, people would be surprised to learn that I'm like a pretty intense Zen practitioner. And a lot of people don't know what Zen is, so I'll just share a little bit about that. Yes, it's Zen Buddhism. It's less to me about the Buddha part. It's much more about the mind training, and that's what Zen is. So you meditate, you do all sorts of things, but it's really about training your mind so that it doesn't get carried away with what I would just suggest is negative, unprofitable thinking, and being able to focus your attention on the things that are so wonderful about this world and also the things that aren't, so that you can be helpful.
Most memorable moment for you in your professional career so far?
Well, it was selling the company, but I'll just describe why. Due diligence is a real challenging process. Day 90, it was a Friday. And I said, guys, we're done. You're buying the company, right? And they're like, well, still, the lawyers want a couple more things. Okay, look, I'm flying to Jamaica on Monday to get married. When I land, there'll either be a wire transfer in the account, and that means you'll have bought the company, or there won't be, and that means I'm going to sell it to your competitor when I get back from my honeymoon. So I'm landing on the tarmac in Montego Bay in Jamaica, and as soon as I get service, I look at my bank account, and I was like, and I show my fiance still at that time. She looks at me, and then 3 days later we get married and go on a honeymoon.
Yeah, she was locked in at that point.
Oh yeah. Wasn't going anywhere. Yeah, we've been together 11 years now. Yeah.
Well, hey, Peter, this is great. It's been great to get back together. It's been too long. My family's up there, so I'll have to. Next time I'm up there, we'll maybe grab a whiskey if you're up for it.
I'd love that. And if anybody wants to find me online, it's at Corbett3000 on Twitter. Stillrush.co is where all the coaching stuff is. Peter at stillrush.co.
Awesome. All right, man. Good catching up.
All right, buddy. Take care.